Okay, welcome back once more. So now we'll be starting a new topic, and that topic is word sense disambiguation. And if you recall, we have said that whenever we do language analysis or computational linguistics, the level of language study can be at phonetics, which is how sounds are produced by the human vocal tracts. Then we have phonology, which is concerned about how sounds are ordered and affecting each other whenever they are put together. Then we discuss about morphology, which is concerned about word formation of or parts of a word in a language. And we have discussed about different type of word formation in most language that we have, like affixation, compounding, and reduplication, where affixation can be prefix, suffix, infix, or circumfix. Now, once you have the word with all its grammatical feature and lexical elements, then we have to worry about the meaning that's associated with the word, because we know that language is complex. And when we say that, it is because of the fact that words in a language can be used to express many things based on the behavior that is, or the property that's put on that word, or how people or speakers of that language use a word for their day-to-day communication. So this topic would cover word sense disambiguation, which is a role of semantics in natural language processing. So as you can see, the title says word sense disambiguation, and it shows you that word can have many meanings or many senses, and disambiguating, whenever there is a doubt, whenever there is uncertainty, disambiguating that sense is one of the NLP tasks that we have. Mind you, we do that in our day-to-day life in a very simple manner as human being, but we know that the task is very difficult for a machine. So the subtopics to be covered in here is, first we'll discuss about what semantics is. We'll try to see the problem associated with it. Then we'll try to see word sense relation, which means how word sense can be identified using different kind of representations. We will see the known disambiguation approach. We'll talk about knowledge-based word sense disambiguation using a machine readable dictionary. And from that, we are going to focus on the lexical algorithm. And finally, we'll see what we call selectional preference for word sense disambiguation. So in a way, we'll be talking about another level of language understanding, which we call is semantics. Mind you, semantics assumes that the spelling or the morphology of a word is correct, and it tries to go beyond the lexical meaning. It tries to try to understand the meaning that is associated to the word beyond the dictionary meaning. Mind you, a dictionary meaning for a word is a list of possible meanings that you can have. But when we talk about semantics, there are other issues that we need to consider. So the question in semantics is this one. It is the study of the meaning of a word, a phrase, and a sentence, okay? So semantics is about meaning. So meaning is not going to be only confined in a single morpheme. It won't be even confined on a single word. It won't be confined to a phrase or a sentence. So meaning can be derived from many different levels of language representation. For instance, we have what we call lexical semantics. And lexical semantics is the meaning of the word and the relationship among the words that we have in a language. We call that lexical semantics. But mind you, this is at a word level. But we know that words can also come together. And whenever they come together, we know that the meaning of those combination is not a simple sum of the meaning of the two words. And we have seen many such examples previously, right? If you have a word which says, let's say, eyeglasses, it doesn't mean glass and eye. It is another device that is used to correct your vision, okay? So the meaning is not simply a combination of the meaning of the two words. If you say girlfriend, it doesn't mean a girl and a friend. It means it is more than that. You have more intimate relationship. In Amharic, if you say Beta Metzahaft, it doesn't mean the house that contains book. That's totally, no, it's not totally what it is. It is a place to read. It is a place with quiet environment. It's not a place only for books, but for reading, for discussion, for many other things. So whenever you say Beta Metzahaft, it doesn't mean the house of books. So the meaning is not a simple combination of the meaning of the words that you have in those compound words. So sometimes we have phrasal or sentimental semantics, which means a syntactic unit larger than a word can come up with a different semantics or a different meaning. So in semantics, we are concerned about what the speaker conventionally mean, or the objective or the general meaning. We're not expecting to see what the speaker is trying to say. It's not the subjective or the local meaning. We are concerned about getting the conventional or the objective of the speaker whenever you talk about semantics. So the question is, what does it mean? What does a specific word mean? What does a phrase mean in that context? Okay. Mind you, if you don't have a context, then semantics is not going to be really analyzed. It has to be within a context. That is very important. What do you understand from this word? What do you understand? What do you understand from this word? Huh? What do you understand from this word? Fakada, what do you understand from this word?
It's a noun.
What is the meaning?
It's a kind of bird.
A kind of bird. How do you know? What if I'm referring to the device that you use when you play a baseball game? The stick that you use, we call it a bat, right? Adalla? Adallande? Fakada. So the idea in here is, if a single word is given to you, then the concept of meaning would be really a challenge, because you know that when you go to a dictionary, there could be many possible meanings associated to this one. But what if it is used in a sentence? What if you say, Ndazibelis? What if this is the sentence that you have? Then you're sure that we are referring to the sports device, Adalla? The stick that we use in a game. So in this case, it is important to disambiguate. So the word bat has a meaning because of the other words, like a player, heat, ball, በሚሉት ምክንያት. You can actually say that we are referring to this. What if I say, እንደዚህ ብልስ? The bat flew just on top of my head when I opened the room. But maybe I'm referring to the bird-like animal. I don't know. So the words that you're going to use with it will help you to determine the meaning. So what we call semantics or meaning is, sometimes we worry about the lexical semantics, which means the meaning associated to the word, or we are concerned about compositional semantics, which means whenever it is used in a phrase or in a sentence. So converting the syntactic structure or the order-based presentation of the words to a semantic format to represent meaning is very important in semantics. So semantics is concerned about, you see, semantics is concerned about the meaning of a word or a phrase within a sentence. We're not concerned about only the list of meanings a word has from a dictionary. We are concerned about the meaning of the word or a phrase within a sentence, okay? So the idea in here is, mind you, we know that in all those NLP applications, we're concerned about the representation. Now, in this case, how do you represent meaning? Represent meaning of a word is very important for computational tasks. Are you going to represent it as a semantic network or a logic or a policy? These are very important decisions that you have to make. And one of the representation method that we have is what we call semantic feature. Mind you, a word can have many features that would be associated to it. For instance, let's take the word boy. What is the meaning of boy? You know, it means a young male human being. You know, we know that's what it means. But there are many semantic features that can be associated with it. Like, for example, a boy can speak or can talk. Okay, so talking is one property. A boy can move. Okay, we know that. Agility or movement is one property of a boy. A boy has leg, for instance. Okay, or we can say 2 legs if we want to. We can also say a boy is young. Okay, all these are properties. Or we can say a boy is not girl, or female. Okay, we can say again, boy not old. So what does it mean? We are trying to come up with the features that can be possessed by a boy. Or we can say a boy is not non-living. A boy is not a non-living thing. A boy is a living thing. So as you can see, for a word boy, there are many features that can be associated to it. But mind you, this is an endless process, but we have to limit, or we have to have a scope of this analysis. So this is what we call is a semantic feature. So a semantic feature is concerned about, you know, converting a syntactically correct sentence to avoid any semantic oddness or incorrectness. So for instance, if you say the 3 ate the hamburger, why do we say this sentence is wrong? Let me know, this sentence is wrong, Manila. Yeah? Martha, why do we say this sentence is wrong? Martha?
Yes.
Why do we say this sentence is wrong?
Because the tree is not eat a hamburger.
You see? Now, tree is a word, right? Aralla? Tree is a word. ስለዚህ ምን እንላለን? Tree is living thing ብለናል። አንዱ property ነው አይደል? Then we can say tree cannot eat. በቃ this is a property. Okay? አይደለ? Tree cannot move. እያልን property እንሰጠዋለን. So some of them are property that it cannot possess. Some of them they are, አይደለ? Or we can also say tree can grow እንላለን. So grow is a property that is possessed by tree. Move and eat is something that's not possessed by tree. Living thing is a property that's possessed by a tree. So if we have this property, if we have this semantic feature, then we can actually relate that to the meaning. So in this case, we can say this sentence is syntactically correct. The morphology of each word is correct. The order of the word is correct, because what do we have? We have a determinant followed by a noun, followed by a verb, followed by a determinant, followed by a noun. And this syntax or this order is allowed, but it is semantically wrong because we know that tree cannot eat, we know that cat cannot study, and table cannot listen. So what we call a semantic feature is the relationship between these would make it wrong. So as you can see, we know that tree, cat, and table are not human beings, which means they cannot perform the action of eating, the action of study, the action of listening for the respective sentence that we have. So what we call a semantic feature is representing meaning or representing semantics by using possible values of plus and minus. So we know that in a word, beyond the dictionary meaning, there are many features, there are many semantic features that can be associated to it. So what we call semantics is component of the meaning of the word. So beyond the dictionary meaning, semantics has the possibility to capture many features, many components of meaning for a single word. So you can actually have a collection of features. You can collect many features and associate it with a word using a plus and a minus sign. So if you associate it with plus, what does it mean? The property is possessed by that word. If you associate it with minus, it means the property is not possessed by that word. So some of the examples are the following. For instance, you can say the word is baby. Okay, this is a word. And the one that we put in a square bracket are semantic features. So young lie, it is plus, human lie, it is plus, animal lie, animate lie, it's plus, but fluid mipalo property lie, it's negative because a baby does not possess the property of being fluid. So this is one example that we have. So these are the words. The columns are the words that we have, and the rows are the semantic features that we want to represent. ለምሳሌ, the semantic feature is animate, human, female, and adult. The semantic feature, the words are table, horse, boy, man, girl. ስለዚህ ምን ሆነ? For a horse, animate is plus, human and female is negative, and adult is plus. For a table, it does not animate, it's not human, it's not female, it's not adult. As you can see, table cannot possess the property of animate, human, female, and adult. And if you see here, a man possesses the property of animate, human, and adult, but it does not possess the property of being female. So having such kind of representation is what we call a semantic feature. Mind you, this is beyond the meaning of a word. It is beyond the meaning of the word that you find in a dictionary. In a dictionary, what you have is a meaning that is directly associated to the word. But a semantic feature, beyond the word, it shows you the relationship or the property that is possessed by the word. So the above semantic feature relates the words in the language with selected features. So if you select many features, then you are going to have a huge semantic feature database. So the goodness of your semantic model will be determined by the size of the semantic feature and the list of words that you have. So a word in the list either possesses a feature or not. So because we are going to represent it either with a minus or a plus sign. If it is represented with a plus, it means it possesses. So for instance, if you see the word boy, the boy possesses the feature of animate and human. You see, it possesses a feature of animate and human, but it does not possess the property of being female and adult. So we are going beyond the dictionary meaning of the words. So these are other examples. For example, widow, mother, sister, aunt, and maid. All of them are, possessing the property of female. Widow or father, brother, and uncle are possessing the property of male, which means እነዚህ ደግሞ ሜል ላይ ማይነስ ይሆናሉ ማለት ነው. That's what it means. Okay, this is what we have. እዚህ ጋር ስንመጣ here you are going to have minus male ይሆናል ማለት ነው. እዚህ ጋር ስንመጣ it would be minus female ይሆናል ማለት ነው. because it doesn't possess this property. Okay, but all of them are human beings, and the same is true for the one that we have below at item 2. Bachelor, paperboy, pope, and chairman are human, but again male, whereas bull, rooster, drake, and ram are male, but they are animals. So having this property is what we call, represent this property is what we call semantic feature. Okay. So the other way of, mind you, this one way of representing semantics, which is semantic feature. The other one is what we call semantic role, which means whenever you use a word in a sentence, it has a role to play. We don't put words simply. We don't put words randomly in a sentence. They have a role to play. So words are described according to the role they play in a sentence. If you remember, you can have a word called determinant, noun, verb, adjective, so each of them have a role to play in a sentence. They are not simply put there. So for instance, if you have a words, a sentence like the boy kicked the ball, each of these words have a role to play. For instance, the word kick is It's a verb that shows you the action. The word boy is a noun, a person that performs the action. So we call it an agent. And a ball is the object that undergoes the action, and we call it a theme. So the kind of role that a word plays in a sentence is also important to identify a semantic property of it. So a noun phrase describes the role of an entity, a people, or a thing involved in the action, and they have, a certain semantic or thematic role. So these are some of the semantic roles that we have. We have agent that perform an action. We have a theme, an entity that undergoes the action. We have experiencer. We have instrument, location, source, and goal. And we can have many semantic roles. And these are some of the examples. Like if you say John is writing with a pen. John is the agent. Okay, writing is the verb or the action. With a pen is an instrument. Okay, with a pen is an instrument. Mary saw a mosquito on the wall. Mary is the experiencer, mosquito is the theme, and on the wall is a location where something is seen. The children ran from a playground to the pool. The children is the agent, the playground is a source, and the pool is the goal, because they are moving from one place to the other. So during your weekend time, which means tomorrow, try to identify the semantic roles of each of these words in the sentence. My boy, open, door and key, door, bite and stick, stick, man, heat and dog, milutin. Try to identify their semantic role, okay? The semantic role that they play in a sentence. The other type of semantic representation that we have is what we call lexical relation, mind you. Beyond the dictionary meaning, there is a lexical relation between the words. For instance, what do you mean by big? The word big has multiple meanings. Sometimes it means large, or it can also mean the opposite of small. So it means words can be related by using synonym, antonym, cause and effect, specialization and generalization. We have so many ways of relating words. So lexical terms or lexical words that you have in your language can be related with one another using many different type of representation. And one of it is what we call lexical relation. So what is the meaning of big signal? You can represent it in many ways. Like what is the meaning of duck? So it can mean either a bird-like animal, duck ማለት ነው, or it can be hiding your head, አይደለ? duck your head ከተባላችሁ ጭንቅላታችሁን ደብቁ ማለት ነው። የሆነ ነገር ሲወረወር እንዲህ ካላችሁ it means you are ducking, you duck your head. So this is what it means, which means a word can have many meanings. So analyzing the terms of the lexical relation will explain the meaning that's associated with one another. So this relationship between words can be synonym, antonym, hyponyms, homophones, homonyms, and polysemies እንላቸዋለን. So you can create a relationship between words using these different kind of lexical relations. So if you see, for instance, synonym, it means words that have the same meaning or that are closely related to one another by meaning. For instance, reply and answer, almost and nearly, broad and wide, buy and purchase, freedom and liberty. We call them synonyms because the meaning is the same or it is closely related to one another. But mind you, whenever we say that, it doesn't mean that one can be used to replace the other. That's not the idea, because you know that in a specific instance, only one of them is applied. ለምሳሌ ይሄን ብታዩ ሁለቱም ምንድን ነው? ሁለቱም መልስ መስጠት ነው አይደለ? Answer is also giving a reply, and reply is also giving an answer. But we know that one of them cannot substitute the other in every instance. ለምሳሌ email ከሆነ ምንድን ነው የምትሉት? Let me reply the email እንጂ የምትሉት let me answer the email አትሉ። What if it is a phone call? You'll say let me answer the call. You don't say let me reply the call, even though the meaning is the same. This is one thing. Synonym means words that have similar or closely related meaning. Synonym differs in formality. ቅድም እንዳልነው buy and purchase, automobile and car ስንል the formality is different, as I explained earlier. The other type of lexical relation that we have is antonym, which means opposite, which means words that are opposite in meaning. Example, hot and cold. These words are opposite to one another. Mind you, having this knowledge will help you to build more on the meaning, more on the semantics of the words. Opposite cone, what does it mean? One can not be substituted with the other. But you know that whenever it's used in a context, you can identify what it means, okay?